Ready to go? Okay. Well, welcome everybody here. The Chamber of Commerce is very happy to see everybody here. It's pretty nice to see it loaded or filled up here. I've got some great candidates for mayor moving forward. And it sort of shows me that a lot of people are really interested in what happens to Moose Jaw and probably want to see it grow, want to see it expand, want to see some taxes lowered. So anyway, there's all kinds of issues that we can talk about a wee bit. But anyway, it's just great people that are here and they're concerned about their community and again with the 5 mayoral candidates. So quickly, the introductions here. Welcome everyone. I'm Rob Clark. I'm the CEO of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce. I'm very pleased to moderate the candidates' political forum. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional lands referred to as Treaty 4 territory, and that the city of Moose Jaw is located on Treaty 4 territory. The original lands of the Cree, the Ojibwe, the Saulteaux, the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. So the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce is a nonpartisan organization and remains neutral and does not endorse any one candidate. One thing I was thinking about today is like municipal leaders that are here or will be here are seen to be making positive changes in the communities they represent. This election provides us an opportunity to select a team that will lead Moose Jaw for the next number of years. So let's make sure we get out and vote. Let's make sure we know who we're talking about, who we're voting for, do some education on each and every councillor, mayor, and away we go. And we'll have, our community is, I still think it has, from the chamber, I've been here my whole life, and I can feel the vibe that we're moving forward. And hopefully some of that can spin back down to some of the, the residents within the city and help support them in different ways. So first off, I'd like to thank the following candidates for participating tonight. We have Clive Tolley, we have Crystal Froese, James Murdock, Kim Robinson, and of course Mike Simpkins. So anyway, moderator. This is what Heather tells me to do, so I'm the moderator, I guess. So read the rules. So each candidate will have a maximum of 3 minutes to introduce themselves. This will be timed. They'll be advised when they have 30 seconds left, if necessary, by ringing of the bell. Each candidate will be asked to respond to 3 predetermined questions. Questions will be accepted from the floor. Please note, not all questions submitted will be answered. We ask that all the questions be respectful. The moderator will ask to the candidates. Candidates will have a maximum of 2 minutes to answer a question. This will be timed. It will be advised when they have 30 seconds left, if necessary, by ringing the bell. If a question is directed to an individual candidate, and the other candidates will have 30 seconds to respond to the same question. Candidates will each have a maximum of 2 minutes for their final wrap-up, starting at approximately 8:20. This will be timed. They will be, of course, be advised. They will have 30 seconds left, and I think you all know by ringing of the bell. Please be respectful to all concerned, and remember, due to time constraints, please keep to scheduled times. The forum is recorded and posted on Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce Facebook page and on Discover Moose Jaw. So you can actually, I'm not sure about Discover Moose Jaw, but if you want to go back to the chamber page of Moose Jaw, you'll be able to pick it up off our social media if you missed something. So I guess we can get started with the opening remarks. And first one out of the queue is Clive Tolley. And of course, they picked their numbers out of a hat, and this is how it ended up. So Mr. Tolley, you can go ahead. You want to stand up here?
I think you're supposed to sit from here is what Heather said.
Oh, okay.
And then we each, because we're wearing that.
I can hear that my mic is working. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Welcome, and thank you for coming tonight. I wondered if the room would be big enough. It barely is, so it's great to see everybody out. I'm Clive Tolley. I became the mayor of Moose Jaw after winning the 2021 by-election. If there's anybody here who supported me in that election, thank you. I believe we've made some good progress in the time I'm mayor, but we're not done yet. I was born and raised in Moose Jaw. I went to Ross Elementary School, Peacock High School. I played most sports and got involved in student-led productions. And in high school, I joined the Saskatchewan Dragoons militia unit to learn about the military and to honor my uncles, my father, and my granddads who all served in World War I and II. And of course, I wanted to earn some money to buy my own clothes and gain some independence from my family. Like many of my generation, I left Moose Jaw to go to University of Saskatchewan along with my girlfriend then, Muriel Hobday, who's now Mayoral Tolley. Thank you for coming, Muriel, as well as my sister Marge and her husband Kelly are here tonight. My son Aiden and his wife Victoria will be along as well. We both entered the College of Education. We wanted to be teachers. She was serious about it. She kept going. I did 2 years, played Husky hockey and enjoyed university life and decided to drop out. Eventually, she came to be a teacher in the Moose Jaw Public Schools. We got married and we stayed here in the city of Moose Jaw. After working at the railroad and realizing I didn't want to be a blue-collar worker for the rest of my life, I completed my degree at the University of Regina. And after graduating, I went into the Graduate Assistance Program, a way for people to get into the federal government. So I got a full-time job as an employment counselor, and I had to move to Prince Albert to do that. And later I transferred back to Regina, and I began that commute. I was in love with the idea of being a hockey coach, and so I actually left a very good federal government position to be the assistant coach, assistant general manager of the Moose Jaw Canucks of the Saskatchewan Junior League. Eventually, I realized I wasn't getting anywhere as a coach, and coaching meant you had to travel, you had to move. I wanted to stay here in the city of Moose Jaw. The mayor's job is a multifaceted position. At the same time, I'm promoting and marketing the city. I'm also trying to grow the economic development of the city, population growth. And on a daily basis, I listen to the concerns of our citizens. I try to help solve the problems they have with the city. I believe I've proven to be well suited for this difficult job, providing leadership as we work together to produce practical solutions to the problems facing the city of Moose Jaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. So second in line would be Crystal Froese.
Just checking to see, can everybody hear me? Nope. Oh, how's that? Can everybody hear me in all the corners? Yep, great, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, fellow candidates. And thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and Rob and Heather for all your hard work. And hello to everyone that's watching online. I'm Crystal Froese, and I've had the honor of serving as your city councillor for the past 8 years, and as a Prairie South School Board trustee for 4 years, and as the chair of your police commission. My husband Kirby and I have deep roots here, and it's great to see Gus Froese, my late father-in-law's mural, replicated just outside this room, celebrating the Sports Hall of Fame recipients. I'm an entrepreneur with 15 years in communications and marketing, helping businesses grow. My education is in public relations and local government administration from the University of Regina, focusing on municipal finance and legislation. I believe my education and experience have prepared me to take Moose Jaw forward as your mayor. I've taken on roles that keep me connected to our families and citizens of our city, serving on 10 boards and committees, from the Police Commission to the Youth Advisory Committee. I've stayed engaged with the community to bring your concerns directly to the council table. People know that when they come to me with issues about roads, safety, or services, I listen, I act, and I follow up. Public safety has been my priority. I've advocated for more officers, funding for our police and crisis team units, and more patrols in our city. We've implemented a trespassing program and connected businesses with crime prevention, and created a community resource page. If we receive funding from the Sask government, next we'll be working on the community safety strategy to make Moose Jaw safer for everyone. Right after the election, we will be facing one of the most challenging budgets. We need to remember, alongside infrastructure and public safety, we fund over 10 local organizations that are the fabric to the quality of life we have. These groups create seniors programming, arts and culture, recreation, tourism, and business supports. And it is important to continue to support all these hardworking organizations that do so much for our community. I believe we've missed opportunities for growth. As your mayor, I will drive economic development by supporting our local business and seeking out new opportunities, like value-added agriculture that align with Moose Jaw's strengths. I'll create economic advisory group to make sure City Hall is business ready to support the growth we need. I have a plan, and I believe we need a mayor who will roll up her sleeves and start working from day one. With my experience and education, I'm ready to work for you. I ask for your vote to build a stronger city together for everyone. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, Crystal. Next up will be James Murdock.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James Murdock, and I'm honored to be here tonight and to be running for mayor. Right now, Moose Jaw has an incredible opportunity to shape its future, to build a city we're all proud of, grow our economy, and welcome families and visitors to a community that feels like home. After many years in the funeral profession, I recently retired and was able to refocus on something that has always been close to my heart: community. My long-standing commitment to community service, decades of business experience, and the time and energy I can now fully dedicate all made it clear that this is the right moment for me to step up. I have no preconceived notions, just a passion for building a better future for Moose Jaw, and the drive to turn talk into action, digging in and getting it done. I grew up in Central Butte, where I learned the values of hard work, community, and family. Over 30 years ago, I moved to Moose Jaw, met a beautiful girl who I now call my wife, Bev, and together we have raised our daughters, Sydney and Jenna, in this amazing city. Today, I want nothing more than to see Moose Jaw thrive, a place that brings together families and businesses, welcomes visitors, and truly lives up to being the friendly city. If elected, together we can make Moose Jaw a business-friendly city by cutting red tape, streamlining permits, and attracting new industries to support local growth. By investing in Moose Jaw's unique attractions, we can boost tourism and drive more revenue for local businesses. We can make Moose Jaw a place where young professionals want to build their futures and raise families through education, career opportunities, and a welcoming, active community. Finally, we can prioritize infrastructure, modernizing our public services, repairing roads, and securing funding for long-term growth, all while ensuring open communication so every resident's voice is heard. With the unwavering support of my family, I'm committed to inspiring our community to work together, to build a city we're all proud of, and to get Moose Jaw back to being the friendly city, a place where everyone feels safe, welcome, and connected. Thank you for your trust and support as we embark on this journey.
Thank you, James. Next up will be Mike Simpkins.
Hello, my name is Mike Simpkins. Oh, not on. Hello? Got me now? We're coming. It's there, just about there. Oh. Hang on, man.
So as soon as we're done this, I start asking questions. Yeah.
Was there a button missed? All right. Thank you for coming. My name is Mike Simpkins. I'm a lifelong resident of Moose Jaw. I've worked in the city with the Canadian Pacific Railway, now CPKC, for almost 38 years. Been married to the same wife, Carl, over there for 39 years. We have 4 grown children and 11 grandchildren. most of them all planted right here in this community or going to school here. I started a company called Miles Ahead Drive Red in 2016. Carla and I, Miles Ahead Drive in 2010, and in 2016, Miles Ahead Motorcycle Training, with the majority of the students that come to our program are actually from out of town, bringing people into our community from as far away as Alberta and Northwest Territories and Manitoba. So we also have been looking after the high school driver education programs in most of the schools in the city for the last 12 of the last 14 years. My goal is to eliminate wasteful spending, work at reconnecting what appears to be a disconnect between the city administration and our city council. City Hall needs to have good, clean, and good, strong leadership. People that are working hard together and with each other to bring things back and to put things back into a good, clean running. We're just not running as a sync. There's a missing there, and we can see that in watching and sitting and watching councils. We're missing something. We need to have a good, strong work ethic, integrity, and a heart for the people in our city council. And I think that's missing. I think we're not being heard, and I think that's why 29 people are running for office here in Moose Jaw. I demonstrate leadership skills and I lead by example. I believe that we'll be able to build a good group of values and help work together to bring the heart of the people back into City Hall. I bring strong core values, common sense back into the city chambers. Sound business decisions, sound spending practices, all while making sure that we are listening to the voice of the people who elect us. The mayor's office on down has to have integrity and accountability in City Hall. We need to have a commitment and courage to address the difficult decisions and the issues that our city is about to overcome. I know people are afraid of the word accountability, but it has to be demonstrated from the mayor on down. And I think the three biggest things we need right now is a visionary leader, good communication, and someone who has values and respects the people that are around them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And finally, Mr. Kim Robinson.
There you go. Can you hear me? Thank you. Welcome, everyone. And I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce, Heather, Rob, of course, our technicians, and thank all of you for your attendance, and I wish the best of luck to my fellow candidates. My name is Kim Robinson. I was born here in Moose Jaw. I'm a longtime resident of this community where I have built a fulfilling life alongside my wonderful wife, Tina, who I have shared the past 32 years with. We are proud parents to 4 daughters, each of whom brings us challenges, joy, and inspiration. I was raised in a family-owned small business environment to an entrepreneurial family. I recognized early the importance of good service, a quality product, and an exceptional customer experience. My professional journey began with a solid education in accounting and administration. This led me to diverse roles in the service industry. I've owned my own construction company. I've had roles with the provincial and federal government, in the comptroller's office, in tax collection, and I have even spent some time working at our local forces base. Beyond my career, I have actively participated in sports since my youth: hockey, football, baseball, playing, coaching, and officiating. Currently, my activity is pickleball, along with exercising my dog that takes up quite a bit of my time. I have actively engaged in numerous community initiatives. I volunteered at food banks, participating in our church help with hunger programs. I'm a board member of the Moose Jaw Wildlife Federation. My commitments extend to several years on the Parks and Rec Committee, several years on Tourism Moose Jaw, many years on the Hospice Board, and some time with service with the Board of Police Commissioners. Most recently, I have been involved with the board of the Humane Society and with the Citizens on Patrol program, both locally and provincially. And of course, I have spent the past 4 years as your city councillor. Through these experiences, I have fostered a deep connection with this community and its values. I too believe we have squandered many economic opportunities, as well as opportunities to enhance our safety and livability. I believe I am the leader needed to make Moose Jaw better for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. So we can move on to some predetermined questions that we can start off with. And thank you for all your opening remarks, and much appreciated. So Crystal will, excuse me, Crystal will start here on the question. So what distinct leadership strength would you bring to City Hall if elected the next mayor of Moose Jaw? Please provide examples of your leadership strength to assist us in identifying you as an effective mayor.
Just going to test my mic again. Great. I bring a strong solutions-focused leadership style to City Hall, grounded in my long career as an entrepreneur and my commitment to this community. I've spent years working alongside businesses, helping them to innovate and grow, and I understand the need of a proactive, business-friendly City Hall. I've been a city councilor for 8 years. Of my education in local government, I understand legislation and how it relates to the decisions we make. I have a proven track record of being fiscally responsible, facing some of the most challenging city and school board budgets that we've had. A defining aspect of my leadership is my commitment to collaboration. I make it a priority to meet people where their issues are, listen to their concerns, and actively seek out solutions. I saw a disconnect with our community and council. One of the first motions I made was to have all the organizations present to council during budget time. Citizens' tax dollars support them, but they aren't just lines in a budget. They provide programming for seniors, attract tourists, and are key to the quality of life. We need to continue to support and collaborate with these hardworking groups who do so much for our city. My experience also includes building partnerships through the various boards and committees I serve on, including the Police Commission and the School Board. Advocating and meeting with our MLAs on homeless issues, safety issues of the 9th Avenue Northwest and Trans-Canada Highway intersection, supporting the North Service Road businesses to get a safe solution. I've spoken to provincial ministers at our municipal conference about additional funding for police and infrastructure. I am all about prioritizing partnerships. Through my experience on council, I have the right connections to provide leadership to be your next mayor.
Thank you, Crystal. Next, we'll hear from James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. If elected as mayor of Moose Jaw, I bring a strong foundation in communication, teamwork, and passion for our city. My years in the funeral profession have taught me the importance of active listening, transparency, and empathy. Skills that would ensure every resident feels heard and understood at City Hall. Through my community service, I've learned the value of collaboration and teamwork. Understanding that progress happens when we work together. But most importantly, I love the city of Moose Jaw, and I'm dedicated to leading by example to bring us back to being the friendly city, where everyone feels welcome, connected, and proud to call our community home.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. I was reading something, chewing gum and listening at the same time. That doesn't work out very well. Okay, yeah, let's go. So anyway, thanks, James. I appreciate that. So next to speak would be Mike Simpkins.
Am I on? Good. I'm going to use my business as an example of my leadership. In 2015, I was approached by the then Senior Director of Driver Development with SGI in the province about opening up a need for motorcycle training in the province. So when I started doing my research about the programs that were out there, I realized that there was only one program in all of Canada that was given the authority to operate, and that was the MSF program that was written in Europe in 1968. I thought, we've got to have something better than something from 1968, so I took it upon myself, my wife, and a couple of instructors who are still with me today. They were at that time, they became instructors after that. And we wrote a new curriculum and put together a package of something that would bring things back to modern days and traffic flows and traffic. And I used my experience in traffic to bring that together. We worked together as a team to bring that and get it not only certified in Saskatchewan, but get it certified nationally. And with that program, we've had people come from as far away as Ontario to look at our program because we developed something different. We developed a track system, creating roads and roadway systems and forcing people into traffic so we could better prepare riders to enter the roads and operate safely. So I believe that demonstrates my leadership skills and my ability to think out of the box rather than take what's already there and work with it, and that I have the tenacity to make things go. I'm willing to work and collaborate with people from different departments in the city and community groups to find solutions that will make departments more efficient physically and provide better services with the finances that are provided to them. Something that is deeply needed at this time is to find solutions for the controversial issues in our community that we need to deal with today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Kim Robinson, please.
Well, thank you. I actually went out to a couple of our residents, and I was kind of left wondering, what are my greatest strengths? So I went out and I talked to a few of our residents that I've helped, and they came up with Kim Robinson listens. So I would say I have good listening skills. I listen to all resident concerns. I communicate and engage with everyone. I find you never know what gem of information or knowledge that you will find simply in engaging with others. I take input and I do my research, and then I exercise sound judgment. I have the ability to make tough choices that aren't always popular. I feel that there are several examples on council where I felt we were making, as a group council, we were making a poor decision based on the aforementioned skills. I spoke against the popular decision and stood steadfast. I brought forward and I have advocated for a vacant and derelict property strategy with a little support from council and admin. I believe we are seeing the repercussions of not acting on this initiative in the news today and previously with issues like the Stadacona apartment situation. I believe my leadership skills continue in bringing everyone to the table and solving issues like the ones I've just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. For this last question, Mr. Clive Tolley.
As a leader, I stay calm, confident, in control, bringing reason and logic to decision making instead of or opposed to losing control and having knee-jerk reactions and knee-jerk decisions. I've experienced under pressure from my time as a soldier, my experience as an athlete, as a coach, as a mediator and arbitrator. I stay calm, I make rational decisions, and I develop and execute effective plans when others are in chaos. When I became mayor, we were in a pandemic. And if you all remember what that entailed, we wore masks, we missed our exercise, we couldn't do the things we like to do, we gained weight, we were miserable. The price of everything went up. COVID-19 meant that everything that we buy goes up personally and also from a city point of view. Do you remember that line, why did it go up? Oh, supply chain issues. Then that meant that the city of Moose Jaw had even more issues because everything that we bought and purchased to run our city cost more money. As the leader of the council, I kept the council focused on the important decisions we had to make, and I worked closely with our administration to weather that pandemic storm. In the middle of my term, the city manager retired, leaving us with an administrative void. I played an important role in securing a headhunter and working with council. We're able to hire a new city manager, and then daily I work with that manager to address cultural change, the change that we need at City Hall and the change you're seeing today. My strength as mayor is regardless of what the problem is, what the difficulty is, I can continue to function at a high level and do this within a team environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. We have another question here that we'll go to, and then we'll grab it. I'll get a few here from the audience. So, excuse me. So, James, you can go number one here. So, growth is a very contentious issue right now. I'd like to hear each candidate share an example of when they showed leadership in either taking a controversial position or bringing people together to find a solution on a controversial issue. Sorry.
Thank you, Rob, for the opportunity to address this important topic. A significant moment in my leadership journey occurred this past July when I stood up at the Community Wellness and Safety meeting to share my thoughts on the location of a proposed shelter. I spoke up for the safety of our community, the support of our downtown business environment, as well as an upcoming hotel project I am invested in. I am committed to clearing up misinformation regarding my stance on this issue, as I believe open communication is essential. My position has always been clear. I support the mission of a shelter, but we must carefully assess its location to ensure it meets the needs and safety of everyone involved. And we must ensure we have the appropriate wraparound supports in place to develop effective solutions. My recent meeting with Square One Community Inc. was truly inspiring. Their approach emphasizes communication, collaboration, a shared support, working tirelessly to build partnerships in the city, provincial government, and local organizations. This highlights the importance of constructive dialogue in fostering a safer, more inclusive community. I believe that by focusing on solutions and working together, we can create a plan that supports those in need while safeguarding the interests of local residents and businesses, ultimately enhancing the future of Moose Jaw. Let's do this the Moose Jaw way, where we can build solutions, grow community support, and welcome a safe future for all. Effective leadership means having the hard conversations, standing up for each other, and doing the work. If elected, I will continue to advocate for the collaborative approach, prioritizing effective solutions over past decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Next up will be Mike Simpkins.
Am I on? Good. Again, I'm going to use a business example from my business with regards to a touchy situation. In 2020, we all were going through a very difficult time. Of course, we all know what was happening there. And of course, with people being locked in, mental illness and health addiction started to rise. At that time, the government started opening the Reopen Saskatchewan program. And on the first step, my motorcycle training program wasn't included on the list. So I appealed to the Sask Health and the provincial government under the grounds of the mental health of getting people out of their home and getting them on their bikes and going, right? Because I know exactly what that's like. So in my appeal, I was successful in my appeal and able to change the environment of my track, change the track layout, adjust the track design, adjust the class sizes and the group setting, put individual instructors in charge of small groups, and we were able to become the first motorcycle training center to open at the beginning of May because of collaboration and working together and meeting the needs in a tough environment. I believe that shows I'm willing to think out of the box. I'm willing to get things happening and to keep people and to help that in that situation. So, thank you.
Thank you for that, Mike. Kim Robinson, please.
Thank you, Rob. Well, firstly, I just want to clarify, I'm not sure I was understanding that growth is a contentious issue. I don't think growth in itself is contentious at all. However, I believe opportunities for growth that are disregarded or squandered is contentious. Looking at examples, I would consider that the opposite of a leader would be a follower. I think my proven track record on council shows that I do not blindly follow the recommendation put forth by our administration. I do my research, I seek input from experts and residents, and I think for myself. As some may recall, when I asked the question that was posed to me by one of our Moose Jaw residents, how are we as mayor, council, and administration held accountable to our citizens? And when are we going to listen to our customers? I received a response from some of council that I would only characterize as less than positive. As the old saying goes, if everyone around the table votes yes, then we don't need everybody around the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Clive Tolley, please.
The Multiplex Builders Incorporated was a nonprofit organization formed to try to formalize efforts to bring a new multiplex facility to the city of Moose Jaw. Originated by Gary Highland, Ray Bowen, and Dennis Benson, all who have since passed, plus myself and a host of others, we started to meet weekly in hopes of convincing the council of the day, the administration of the day, and the citizens of Moose Jaw that we should not be putting our money into the Civic Center, but rather we should begin the planning process for a new multiplex. The multiplex we envisioned would combine ice surfaces for hockey and figure skating, a curling ice, and a field house. We met for about 5 years at a nearby office here, and we really didn't get much traction from the community or from the council of the day. So thinking that ex-mayor Ray Bowen would be the perfect spokesman for the project, we created a presentation and we went to council where Ray was not well received. It was during that time the council and administration had been putting money into the Civic Center to the tune of about $5 million, believing that the Western Hockey League would be okay with an upgraded facility as opposed to a new one. What followed, as many of us will remember, is 2 referendums, the loss of momentum, and some of the desired properties that we had options on were lost. So that's why the footprint that the multiplex is on today is not as big as it should have been. Build it and they will come. This building and the field house have helped to shape and define Moose Jaw. Without these facilities, we would not have a Western Hockey League franchise. I was with a group of leaders, a team of leaders. We had a vision, we stuck to it, and what you see here today is a result. Many, many people in this room contributed to that, and I appreciate that, and I thank you for that. Without this building and our facilities, we would have very little to celebrate in the city of Moose Jaw. This is really something to behold, and we did it as a community. And I was just one of the many leaders in that case. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. Crystal, you're next.
Thank you. Good. Addressing homelessness and supporting our less fortunate citizens is a deeply complex issue, one that has impacted our downtown and raised concerns from both business and residents. When Moose Jaw Pride established a day shelter for those in need, I was tagged on Facebook. So I began to meet with various agencies to understand the resources available and the gaps we faced. I toured facilities like the John Howard Society, and I joined Square One as a volunteer, an organization dedicated to collaboration to support those experiencing homelessness, mental health, and addictions. Recognizing that this collaboration is key, I organized a series of community-wide Zoom meetings because we were in the pandemic. I invited frontline support agencies, volunteer organizations, and local churches to join the conversation so we could all learn from one another to begin to address this issue with a united front. I invited experts from Medicine Hat and 2 ER doctors from Ontario who shared their solutions that were working in their communities. My goal has always been to find practical solutions through a deeper understanding of the situation, which led me to advocate for additional supports with our MLA, Tim McLeod. I've also worked closely with our downtown businesses and police service. I organized an evening meeting with the chief of police and the business community to discuss supportive programs like CEPTED and the PACT initiatives and improve communication on how police could assist. As chair of the Police Commission, I've supported the trespassing and shopping cart programs and have increased patrols downtown. By bringing people together, I've shown that we can turn controversial issues into collaborative efforts, moving towards solutions that balance the needs of all Moose Jaw residents. We all want the same thing, and it's important to work together. Thanks.
Thank you, Crystal. So we've got a couple questions up here regarding housing, so I'll just try and throw them into one here the best I can. As soon as I find the page. Sorry. Here we go. So the question here is basically, I've got 2 or 3 of them here. What strategy would you be putting forward to address the housing crisis, and how will you do it? And the increase of homelessness, and the homeless or the unhoused, how will you deal with that? So the housing crisis and the unhoused. Sorry, Mike, your turn.
Well, I'm going to start with the unhoused. I think there is a need for that, and we looked at it, but I'm not a big fan of building homes or building places. I'm not interested in creating a tent city in our city. I don't think that we have the size of city and or the funds to take something like that on. Do these people need to be helped? Absolutely, and there's going to be some that want help, and we need to set up programs that are going to work to get down to the root of the problem, long-term care programs to bring help to those people. And we need to look at different programs that are out there that have success ratings. Sometimes we just jump into the first program and we want to throw money at it. But if we don't throw our money at it wisely, then we're just throwing it away. And I think we have to be wise and make sure we pick programs that actually have a track history of success in working with those people. And I don't think bringing them into our downtown where it's going to chase away tourism and and affect our businesses and affect the ability to draw in new businesses is the place to bring that and to house these people and to work with that. As far as the housing shortage, we have to reduce red tape, plain and simple. We've got so much, and we've got bylaw after bylaw after bylaw after bylaw, and everybody has to get this, and everybody has to get that, and everything goes to a crawl. And it seems like everything is at a snail pace in City Hall when it comes to the bylaws. So we need to look at streamlining that process for our builders, because if we're putting things on hold, then all we're doing is working against our builders. And so we need to make sure our builders have the ability to get their permits, get their building permits, and get themselves going and get things moving, so that there's not fighting with red tape all the time. There shouldn't be fighting. Our businesses shouldn't be fighting with City Hall.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Kim Robinson.
Thank you, Rob. Well, I think we have to look down the road a little further on recently. Of course, many residents know that we turned down a 200-unit apartment development that would provide housing for lesser income housing through revenue or through relocation filtering. People move into the new place, their old place is for sale, or so that's one thing. I think we really have to look at these things, and instead of a developer that like that out of town, we have to look at what they could bring to our community. Another thing, we have so many of these infill properties and tax arrear properties, a lot of vacant, again, the vacant and derelict properties strategy that I talked of is maybe we need incentives for builders to fill these places. As an example, we have one recently we were trying to sell for $77,000. Well, by the time you pay to have the house delivered and or demolished, now you're into this lot for $160,000 and you still haven't built anything on it. So I think we have to look at incentives like that for our builders. and get creative. I come from an entrepreneurial mindset. I think there's many ways that we could solve this with a multifaceted approach. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Next, Mr. Clive Tolley.
The fact that Joe Miller and Souls Harbor left Moose Jaw, I think, is a good thing, because we now have Moose Jaw people working on a Moose Jaw solution to the problem. The Moose Jaw Nonprofit Housing Association and Square One are working right now together to provide some shelter spaces, a space where people aren't booted out in the morning and come back at night, but can actually spend time in. There's a New Hope people that formerly had the Riverside Mission. They're working, trying to get organized to provide a response. The churches of our city have done a tremendous job in providing meals, and Square One has coordinated all that. So I think a Made in Moose Jaw solution to the unhoused problem is the way to go, and I think we can thank a lot of people in our community for working at that and caring about that. In terms of housing crisis, I don't think we have one. There's a new apartment in West Park. There's a new apartment under construction at the Union Hospital parking lot site. There's lots for sale beside the new school that's being built in Southwest Moose Jaw. There's quite a few lots for sale there. And also we have a housing incentive program for infill, which I think is tremendous. If you buy an old house and knock it down, or find a vacant lot where a house is derelict, you can get 0% taxes for the first 5 years if you build a new home there. So I think the market should take care of the housing crisis. I don't think we really have one. And I think it should be a Moose Jaw, Made in Moose Jaw solution to the problems we have with the unhoused. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. Next will be Crystal.
Well, thank you for the question. It's a really good one. At the municipal level, we do not receive funding for social issues or for housing. And so it's really important that we work with our MLAs to ensure that they know what the needs of our community are. And I've done that working with our MLA, Tim McLeod, the Minister of Mental Health and Wellness, alongside the other agencies like Square One and Willow Lodge. And now, of course, there's the new organization, Hope, that's come together to also support the unhoused. So our role as City Council is really to support those agencies and ensure that their needs are being addressed at the provincial level. We have some great developers in our city with some really exciting projects on the go right now. Up on West Park, there's a whole multi-diverse types of housing, apartments and single-family dwellings that's going up there. And they're also included a great feature, a water feature that's supposed to be happening up there. There's that development. There's opportunities to build brand new housing around our brand new school too. And as Clive mentioned, there's other incentives for infill that our city has, and maybe we need to be better at getting those out into the community, but those are incentives too. Like he said, if you tear down an older derelict house, you can actually build one and get a tax incentive around those. So I think we're doing a lot in our community, and there's a lot of exciting things going on as far as housing and development.
Thank you, Crystal. James Murdock.
Yes. Thank you, Rob. For the housing crisis, I truly do believe that having good open communication and dialogue with private developers would go very far in easing the strain so that there are affordable housing for those in the most need, so that they have the dignity to reside in their own home instead of possibly living with 3 or 4 others because of the lack of development. And I do know that there are eager participants with funds that would engage in dialogue with the city. But I do think that that's the importance of being able to fast track permits, having the available land ready to go to just aid in all of that. So, and of course, the infills, I know that everyone has mentioned, I think that that is something that really the city has not tapped into. The majority of infills are in, very well-established neighborhoods with matured lots that offer trees and just a peaceful surrounding. So I think that that is something that we could move forward with at a more faster pace. With regards to the unhoused, we quite simply need to have good open dialogue with the province, with our city administration, and with the knowledgeable groups who are here basically on ground zero helping the unhoused, and we can learn from them. And if we all come together as one, great things will be accomplished from that. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Sticking with the social issues, there's a couple more of them here. Here I got one that's quite long, but probably needs to be questioned. So anyway, this is to all candidates. Harm reduction is evidence-based approach seeking to reduce health and social harms associated with addiction and substance abuse. It is a proven health-oriented way that helps reduce blood-borne illness such as HIV, hepatitis B plus C, and decrease deaths from substance abuse. So what are you going to do to support public health initiatives, to implement harm reduction strategies, to work with volunteers and groups who are hoping to help the homeless, hungry, and needy, and provide a shelter in downtown Moose Jaw? That's a long one. I can read it again. Kim. Thanks, Heather.
I'm sorry, read it again. I was serious.
Oh, you'd like to hear it again?
I would.
Okay, harm reduction is an evidence-based approach seeking to reduce health, social harms associated with addiction and substance abuse. It is a proven health-oriented way that helps reduce blood-borne illness such as HIV, hepatitis B plus C, and decrease deaths from substance abuse. So part 2 of this is, what are you going to do to support public health initiatives, to implement harm reduction strategies, to work with volunteers and groups who are hoping to help the homeless, hungry, and needy, and provide a shelter in downtown Moose Jaw?
Okay, thank you. Well, I think if I'm kind of reading between the lines there, we're discussing a little bit of what they call safe injection and safe use sites. I'm not in favor of any of that. I believe that it's a slippery slope once we start down there. I have recently talked with a developer that's interested in coming to our city and creating a wraparound program. I honestly think that's our best option. I believe the term used was a haven, or it's a multifunctional community in itself, if you will, that helps with the addiction end of things, the unhoused end of things, the skill-seeking end of things, and because we really have to lift these people up, and not just give them a warm bed and a sandwich, a bowl of soup. So I believe it's really based in, I'm hoping for good things from this developer I spoke to, but I really think that that's our best avenue, is to look at a full circle approach to helping individuals that are experiencing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Clive Tolley.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I don't know how to talk about something that's really a provincial government responsibility. There was a government elected yesterday Fortunately, we have two MLAs sitting with the government. One of those MLAs, Minister McLeod, was the minister for, I've forgotten the name of the portfolio, but I think his portfolio certainly falls in the area of addictions and health. So I think the best thing that we as a community can do with our elected officials municipally is to keep a good, strong relationship with the provincial government, with the Premier, the Cabinet, and our own MLAs. If we keep an open dialogue, we'll know about programs as they come along. We'll have input. But certainly we can't, as a city, take on the financial responsibility for doing the things that are the provincial government's responsibility. So I think first off, keep a strong relationship with the provincial government, keep a strong relationship with our two MLAs, and work with them to try and find solutions. Right now, working together as Moose Jaw Nonprofit Housing and Square One, they're working hard to develop services for people that are unhoused. I'm not in favor of a safe injection site in downtown Moose Jaw. And I again look to the provincial government and our nonprofit organizations to work with funding from the province to address them. We've typically been asked where we would like something located, but we certainly can't take on the responsibility to pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. Next would be Crystal Froese.
Well, thank you again for the question. Again, this is one that really is in the hands of the province. And I think as mayor, it's really important to continually to meet on a regular basis with our MLAs to make sure that the needs of our community are in front of them and make sure they're connected to the agencies and the volunteer organizations that are actually doing the frontline work to ensure that they get the resources they need to help and support these people in our community. We don't receive social funding at our municipal level. Our city is too small. So we have to ensure that we build that strong relationship with our province. We also have the opportunity at the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Conference to be in front of all of the ministers and to address things in a public fashion, which I've done several times on behalf of our city. And that's another great format to, again, highlight and bring more of these urgent issues to them. I don't know enough. I'm not an expert in social services, but I feel really strongly in making sure that our MLAs are connected to what's happening here in our city and making sure that those that are working in these areas are supported and have the funds they need to do the job to help support the people here in our city.
Thank you, Crystal. James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. Well, I will reiterate too that with regards to addictions, substance abuse, mental health, that is a heavy portfolio that we need assistance from the province with the funding. If they can work with us, and it takes the city, mayor, councillors, administration, we would all need to be lobbying the province for the funds. If we can get those funds, working with groups and agencies that we have here locally, we would be able to see that those dollars are being directed where they're most needed, the most quickest. And once the people start receiving the assistance from these dollars, it's important that they're not continuously being released to the enablers that they know. If we can see that that takes place, that they are receiving the proper assistance with the proper trained people, we can create hope for them and give them a path to an opportunity. So, thank you.
Thank you, James. Mike Simpkins.
Hi, I am also not an expert in this area, but I will touch on some things. I think it depends on the reports you're reading. In a most recent report out of Europe, it said that harm reduction programs just simply weren't working, that they were failing the people in Europe. So I'm not sure why we would continue to try it in our city. I think we need to look, as I mentioned earlier, at long-term treatment programs. We can't take a person out of a poor environment for a couple of weeks and then put them right back into that poor environment and expect to have a change. right? They're going to fall right back into old patterns. We need to look at long-term solutions or long-term treatments where we can take these people out of their area, put them into a place where they can get the proper treatment, proper support, and the professional groups working with them so that they can overcome and get to the root of the problem. If we don't get to the root of the problem, we're never going to, you can't kill a tree by just chopping off a branch. You got to get down to the root of the problem. And so we need to deal with the roots, get to the problem, deal with them, and then help these people, give them a chance to become citizens again by getting them back, teaching them life skills, and getting them back into the workforce. You might not be able to throw them into a 40-hour-a-week job, but we can start putting these people back into the workforce a little bit at a time so they can start seeing the value in it. When they start seeing value in themselves and value in that, then they can start to recover. But we just, throwing a Band-Aid on an open wound just isn't going to work for it. So, and I agree. I don't think, again, this is not something that, if this situation was created by the federal and provincial government, it's not something that we as a tax base have the money to start taking on and fixing their problems.
Thank you, Mike. I got a couple questions here regarding some downtown development, and I'll try and put it all together. So Clive Tolley will go first. So for those people that don't know, the downtown, or no, sorry, the tourism Moose Jaw probably generates $80-90 million in economic spin-off to the city. So I think it's one of the third largest economic drivers here for Moose Jaw. So the other thing too is there's not any support from, I guess, from other provinces or other bigger centers. They get that. Moose Jaw doesn't really get that so much. And the other part of it is, how important is a downtown development? And this could be any development, not maybe anything else, but how important is a downtown development in making Moose Jaw a healthier and more vibrant business community? How would you lead a development with reference to downtown safety, parking, and beautification?
Okay. I think a turn took place when I was a city councilor, and that was quite some time ago. But at the time, our Moose Jaw economy was really struggling. And we thought, what are our assets? What do we have? We have a heritage downtown. Let's do something about that. Let's draw people to come to Moose Jaw. So that council I served on drilled the spa well. We drilled a well, and we had a competition who would build the spa. It took several years after that to get the spa actually opened and operated, but that brought the casino and really, really spurred on development of downtown. So I've been a long time supporter of downtown development around our heritage theme, and I believe we're bringing lots of people into downtown Moose Jaw now as well because of the renovation and reopening of the Grand Hall Hotel. But what did we do then, and how does it relate to now? We put in paving stones, we put in street furniture, we did what are we doing now? Well, we're painting the street furniture and making it more attractive. If you have people in a community and it's busy, safety is not much of a concern. Safety becomes a concern when people aren't using the downtown area. So the more people we draw to our downtown area, the busier it is, the more we'll have safety. I pushed council and we got a parking study done. Results haven't been published yet. For what are we going to do about the parking in this area here, especially if we develop a new hotel across the street. So I'm taking a leading role in trying to provide solutions around safety, parking, and bringing more people to Moose Jaw's downtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. Crystal Froese, please.
Well, downtown and development for our city is really important, but I think we also can't ignore the fact that our downtown core is sort of the backbone of our heritage and our identity here in the city. We see lots of people who come here just because of our extraordinary downtown. And we have beautiful hotels like the Grand Hall and Temple Gardens. And of course, we want to see something happen on River Street. We've been long awaiting for something to replace those old heritage hotels that I grew up in when I first turned 19, and that was the bar scene back then. So we definitely want to see rejuvenation on our River Street. It's really, when the Moose Jaw Event Center first opened, there was I was working here as a marketing events person, and there was a parking study actually done at that time to show if we actually needed park aid or anything. And the city actually at that time paid for buses. You could park up at the old Civic Center lot, and they would bring you to the event center, and those weren't even utilized. And the parking study came back saying that we had ample parking around this area. Do we need something closer? Possibly, but as Clive mentioned, there's a parking study that's going to be coming back to council, because I operate with facts, and I think that will come back and tell us what we need. But a development in our downtown core, it's so important to support the things that we have here. I shop downtown all the time. I think it's one of the most beautiful downtowns we have in the whole province.
Thank you, Crystal. James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. Well, to me, what defines downtown Moose Jaw? Quite simply, that's our main street. We have one of the best setups for a city with regards to Main Street for what it can offer. There are numerous communities across the province and into Western Canada that would absolutely love to have our Main Street that we have in Moose Jaw. So we need to take advantage of that. Do we all remember the days of the Golden Mile? Wasn't that spectacular? We can get back to that. We can. It will take development. We do need to have investors that will be on board with that, and things can be achieved. With regards to improving the Main Street, with regards to tourism, who best to talk to than the local businesses that are on Main Street? I've been hearing their words, and they want to have someone that's on board to listen to them, just to do simple improvements. So simple, and those are things that could be implemented just like that. So working with them, hearing their stories, we can get things back to how they were. And I know it has been mentioned that, with regards to policing and, safety, presence is greatly required, because when there's presence, just the visual aspect, things change and people feel calm and they do feel safe. So thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, James. Mike Simpkins, please.
Thank you. With regards to the downtown development, I think everybody wants that. I think everybody wants to go in that direction, and everybody would like to see it. But I think that all starts and goes right back to where we've chased businesses away for different reasons. Recently, one of the biggest contentious issues, I think, is our tax structure. I mean, the tax system that was brought forth. I sat in city council and I watched people put presentations to the city with regard to taxes and the taxing of the businesses. And one building's taxed one way and one building's taxed a different way on the same street. And it didn't create a level playing field. And we need to make sure that our tax structures are in place, that we attract people and businesses that want to come here and develop. It's hard to develop people when they look at the people that are here, and if they hear the actual businesses that we have now complaining about our tax structure, how do we attract others? So we need to clean up our tax structure. We need to make changes in there so that we make it so that the businesses we do have are actually selling us just like we need to sell it. We need to create activities and more activities downtown. So we need to create a vision for our downtown area. We need to create a vision for starting activities that bring people to our downtown. There's lots of creative ideas that we don't have to spend a lot of money, where we can have activities, we can bring people downtown. And when we bring people downtown, that creates an atmosphere where people want to go downtown. And again, it gets back to that police presence, cleaning up our downtown, making it feel safe, making people want to go downtown is a big issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Kim Robinson.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with candidate Simpkins. I think everybody's in favor of downtown development. In fact, I'm in favor of any development in our city. I think anything that we can increase our tax base. But I too have visited all the businesses downtown recently, and they are concerned about safety and people, people coming downtown, vagrancy, that sort of thing. So while I am certainly in favor of a downtown development, I think we have to have an eye on the safety. And yeah, there's just so many good things in our downtown that we can't let it falter. And I agree with Mike Simpkins as well. Is let's get a theme, or like some other communities have done. But obviously in favor of any development downtown, but like I say, we really have to keep a vision on the safe aspect of people visiting our downtown. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great responses from everyone. I was just going to add a quick thing there is if we get some development or industry or anything here through the city, if we get creative, et cetera, all those taxes that are coming to our city is going to feed the city. I mean, it's going to help everybody. The more jobs we have, the more land we sell, and the more money that these developers are coming into town. That money is just like whatever. I don't know what it is. It's free, and it's going to help everybody here. So hopefully we can get some stuff done, and we can keep moving forward. There's been a lot, if you think back, there's been a lot of really great things happening in our community this last little while. You even get traffic jams now. So the other thing is speaking of taxes, I've got 2 or 3 of them as well on SAMA. So everyone understands Moose Jaw's property assessment system needs a major overhaul. And basically, I'll just take these other 3 here. So as a mayor, what are you prepared to do to overhaul this problem and willing to readdress SAMA? Crystal, please.
So we're legislated to have an assessment body of some sort. And so years ago, the city had one that was internal, but it still has to be at arm's length, obviously. And so a lot of people sometimes think that taxation, what we do with the raising percentage, is we're the same as SAMA, and it's not. It's very separate. SAMA assesses your property and puts a value on that, and we look after the actual percentage of taxation. And so we've heard from concerned citizens and that have been presenting at council, and we have been holding SAMA's feet to the fire on those concerns. But it's very difficult because we contract with them, but they're governed by the province under provincial regulations, and that's one of the difficulties. So we did ask for a secondary audit, and we were denied, and we didn't really have any other alternative to go to. So we have explored taking it back in to do assessments in-house, and I'd be willing to continue to explore that. I know it affects our businesses. We had presenters that came before us, and one person, Bernie Dembowski, which I'm sure most people saw in the news, talked about his business, and across the street, his taxation assessment was higher than the mall across the street, which made no sense. So there was 14 cap rates. They went down to 9. So I'm absolutely open to looking at alternatives and or seeing if we can work with our province to see how to address some of these other issues that we have.
Thank you, Crystal. James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. I think what we need to explore are what are the other options. And I know that other urban centers in the province of Saskatchewan go with their own local independent assessors that really seems to be working for them. So if it's working for them, why don't we inquire to see if we can implement those changes that would really help our business owners and our residential owners with the taxes. We really don't have to recreate the wheel on this one, I don't think. If there are other options, let's explore them. And if they're better, let's move in that direction. So, Rob.
Thank you, James. Mike Simpkins, please.
I actually think we need to recreate the wheel. I think we need to look at other options, and need to look outside the box of what everybody else is doing, because they complain about their taxes in Regina and Saskatoon too. I think we need to create and look for different solutions and different ways of looking at it. Maybe we could tax our residential homes by the lot size rather than by the actual building size. And then maybe we can stop taxing people for adding beautifications to their land. I mean, you want to tax somebody because they put a deck on their lawn or the gazebo in the backyard, or they want to do something to improve their property. And so we're penalizing the people that are making our city look better, while we're letting the people that have lots and they want to leave it and they'll let the weeds grow a foot high, and there's no penalty to that. I think we need to sit down, we need to collaborate, we need to get out of the box, and we need to look for something. We need other communities looking at us and saying, look what they're doing, rather than let's start playing the follow the leader game. I think if we have leadership, we're going to make leadership decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Kim Robinson.
Thank you. Well, I think that our assessment system is broken as well. When you do a deep dive into it, there's so many inconsistencies and valuation problems. 14 cap rates was absolutely silly for a city our size. So I too would look at a very in-depth audit. How are we doing things? Keeping in mind, like what candidate Froese said, we are bound by the Municipalities Act and Assessment Authority. But we really have to look at some fairness. It's all about just fair taxation for all of us. Somebody mentioned the Dombrowski property, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So let's even the playing field, and but certainly be one of the first things I would do when if I'm elected to office, is to look at the SAMA situation.
Thank you, Kim. Clive Tolley.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, a lot of my response to this is going to be contained in question 3 that you asked us to, but I will probably have some duplication here. SAMA stands for the Saskatchewan Assessment Management Agency, and we have to have somebody do our assessment. Now, at one time, we had our own assessment department. It's my understanding that we abandoned that to try and save money. So a decision was made by a previous council to cancel our own assessment department to go with one that was more provincial in nature. It saved us money at the time. But I'm frustrated with them. They don't listen at all to me as the mayor or any of the councillors when we try and talk to them. They didn't listen to Bernie Dombrowski and some of the others that stepped forward and showed examples that were obviously flawed. It was not and is not a level playing field. One of the things that we all hate is when you do improvements to your property, your assessment goes up. That's the nature of assessment. But more than that, they've misassessed properties by huge amounts of money, including some places downtown, the Ross School development. We've had no more lots sold up there because the people are paying exorbitant taxes based on their high assessments. So we've got a problem with them. Their contract ends at the end of 2025. I would like to see us go a different direction. I'd like to see us either recreate our own department or go together with other partners to create a different assessment agency for the city of Moose Jaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. So we'll go to question number 3. And that will be, Crystal will be going first. Oh, James goes first. I even had the ticky box there. James, you go first.
Thank you, Rob.
I was just going to read the question. Well,
I'm sorry,
I'll
Rob.
read it anyway. Okay. Am I back at the office? Anyway. Can you talk about how to address the property taxes that affect our residents and our business owners, while considering the fact that Moose Jaw, as a municipality, has a few revenue options at its disposal. Thank you.
Very good question. In addressing property taxes, I understand the financial pressure on residents and business owners. I believe the key is to spend smarter and set clear priorities. Moose Jaw has major infrastructure projects underway and more on the horizon, but with limited revenue options. These projects need to be balanced, cost-effective approach, especially with ongoing repairs in mind. While I may not have every detail of ongoing projects right now, I'm committed to digging in, learning the specifics, and identifying smart solutions if elected. We have a clear opportunity to improve communication and collaboration between departments to coordinate projects better, avoiding the costly redundancy of redoing streets and leaving other essential improvements unfunded. With the global financial outlook improving, it is a great time to take a look at proactive ways to stretch our dollars, like leveraging reserves or acquiring low-interest debt to build Moose Jaw's potential. When tax dollars are going to good use, we can grow community pride by enhancing street and sidewalk safety and optimizing snow removal and maintenance in parks, recreation facilities, and downtown, ensuring, we're ready to welcome visitors and showcase our city. As mayor, I'll work to keep property taxes manageable through smart investments, prioritized planning, and transparent communication that ensures our community's voices are heard and concerns addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Mike Simpkins.
I think there will be a little repeat on this one, as you mentioned, Clive. This is another situation where it's going to take collaboration. We need to start looking for solutions outside of the norm. This isn't going to be solved by doing things the way we have in the past. I believe we need to look at different forms of taxation structure, perhaps tax by lot size, as I mentioned earlier, in residentials and stuff. We could look at long-term goals too. I'm going to tell a quick story, and I shouldn't get into a sidetrack too much because I only got a bit of time, but I was fortunate enough to have a father fight in the Second World War, so I grew up in the VLA development. And so with that, we had big lots that we were given by the big lot, from the Veteran Land Act. And so with that land, of course, you could have skating rinks in your backyard and playground equipment and all kinds of things. So as a neighborhood, we all played, the neighborhood kids played together, and I still know the neighbors and stop and would talk wherever we see them on the street because we were a family. We were a family-oriented city, and that's exactly what we need to get back to. And so I think we need to look at for taxes, maybe in our development, instead of developing smaller lots, why not bigger lots? Why not make people that want to move to our city because we actually have a bigger lot than what they offer in Regina? So when our kids want to go play in the backyard, mom and dad want to put a hockey rink or they want a swing set and a gazebo, they're not limited in size and there's a place. And so we know where our kids are, they have a place to play. And so we can start developing that family atmosphere in our neighborhoods and bringing that back. So as far as our taxes, absolutely we need to, SAMA is definitely, hopefully our council, and I'm on it, at the end of next year, SAMA is gone and we can come because I think we'll have the smart enough people that we can get rid of them and bring a new system in.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Kim Robinson.
Thank you. Well, as mentioned, I had too that the assessment system needs a thorough review. I think I made my position clear on that. And I go on to say we need consistency, common sense, and valuation. And in our capitalization rates, we pay with plenty of our tax money to the SAMA organization. I feel we require and deserve better quality. But additionally, I think we need to challenge the number of revenue options that we have available as a city. As I mentioned before, I come from a family of entrepreneurs where we had to be creative and entrepreneurial. So I would ask, are we limiting ourselves by thinking only of tax revenue? We have a dedicated grant writing department now. And perhaps we look at things like tourism infrastructure investment, leveraging some low interest loans or some of our investments. We should look at recreation program expansion. I've often told the story when I lived in British Columbia, City of Kamloops was kind of dying on the vine, and they got together and they said, you know what? We should enhance all our recreation facilities. Now, I think many of you know, Kamloops is known as the tournament capital of Western Canada. Certainly, we could do something like that. We have you know, all the community people that could do that sort of stuff. And really, I feel that there shouldn't be any ideas off the table. And of course, we can increase our revenues by enlarging our tax base from outside investors, as many have talked. I would do my best to secure investments like I recently brought to Moose Jaw of the $50 million apartment block. And further, we need to put more heat on our,
Now you know what it's like at the office with me there. Yeah. Good job, Heather. So anyway, thanks, Kim. Clive Tolley.
It's never. My mic working? There we go. It's never good to deliver bad news, but the bad news is it's going to cost the city of Moose Jaw more to run next year than it did this year. And each year, it's going to cost the city more to run, as well as it's going to cost each one of us more to run our homes. Inflation continues to ramp up, and everything that we buy, everything we use is costing more. How do we're a bit lucky because some previous financial directors handled our money quite well, and we're comparing ourselves to other cities. We're doing better than most. But that doesn't really help us when we're looking at assessment and tax increases. I've talked a little bit about my commitment to review SAMA's contract and potentially get somebody else to do our assessment. I think I'd like to talk a little bit about the border revision. Border revision, those some would be intimately knowledgeable about it, some wouldn't know very much about it. It's a quasi-judicial board that hears our property assessment appeals. Currently, that's done by a contractor. Previously, we had our own local board. It was comprised of people that volunteered and took some training and did it. We weren't able to keep that going. There was too much work, too many deadlines, and so we hired a contractor. Now we're not pleased with this contractor. So as well as reviewing SAMA and their assessment work, I think we have to really think about changing the board revision to another organization. So our new council will be tasked with looking at assessment, looking at appealing the assessments. That whole area has to be looked at carefully and come up with better solutions for the city of Moose Jaw. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Clive. Crystal?
Well, property taxes are a pressing concern, and Moose Jaw faces a real challenge in balancing affordability with continuing to provide those services. We have limited revenue options, so I believe as mayor, my plan for economic development to broaden our economic base will benefit our community now and in the long term. Growing our city, we have natural advantage with a value-added agriculture that can help us expand our tax base and stabilize or reduce property taxes. There is a great opportunity with the new expansion at 15 Wing and possibilities that our municipal airport could take part in. We already provide airspace for the snowbirds to practice. As the base expands, I want to ensure our local trades get their information they need so they can participate in the building the infrastructure that's going to be going on out over there for the next few years. And managing our city reserves is another priority to keep taxes managed, as these funds are critical to move our city forward and alleviate the need to dramatically increase taxes. We need to live within our means, and we need to look at a better way to do our assessment. And as I said before, I would like to see us bring the assessment back into City Hall. The mayor and councilors all just have one vote, but I believe I've got the experience to lead our budget process and to build collaboration so we can make the best decisions and find solutions that help our residents and businesses thrive here in Moose Jaw. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Crystal. I was just going to ask you a question here on some of the things you just touched on, but the mayor often takes credit or gets blamed for the city's economy. What exactly is the mayor's role in economic development? Do you plan to be more directly involved in recruiting new businesses and creating new jobs to help feed our community? And that would go to Mike. That was my next guess. Mike,
Can you read that again, please?
the mayor often takes credit or gets the blame for the city's economy. What exactly is the mayor's role in economic development? Do you plan to be more directly involved in recruiting new businesses and creating new jobs, ultimately feeding our community with the tax base?
I think that's exactly right. I think we need to, it starts with our tax base. When we clean up our tax problem and make our city safe again downtown, those are the big key issues right now. Not ignoring the roads, of course, but yeah, taxes for businesses, attracting businesses because of our tax structure. When that is addressed, I believe we can open ourselves back up for business. And I think we can sell ourselves better by cleaning our city up, by attacking the tax bases. And then, of course, yes, we have to sell our city. We have to go have people that'll go to sell our city the best we can. We need to have a collaborated effort to work together to bring other people in, talk with other businesses, and not chase businesses away. In the past, and I'm not going to get into it, but I could sit here and name business after business after business, big corporation after big corporation that have been chased away by mismanagement from City Hall, starting from our council chambers. And we can talk about it, whether we want to talk about the transportation, the global transportation hub, or they want to talk about K+S. There was handlings of those situations that caused these businesses to go away, and that needs to cease. So Kim's touched on that too, where we've had opportunities and we chase these away. We need to not chase these opportunities away. We need to be able to open our arms up to these businesses. We need to make investments in our city that'll bring these businesses and corporations that they will want to make Moose Jaw their home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Kim Robinson, please.
Well, I've always said that a mayor's role is in promoting his city, his or her city. I'm sorry. Really, a salesman of types. Go out and tell people why that you are the mayor of the greatest city in Canada. And when you land these developers, then the mayor's role is to come back to council and guide that vision and get some momentum, get the other councillors on that same vision so these things can go ahead. I think the opportunity is great. When I lived in BC and I told friends I was moving back to Moose Jaw, they'd say to me, well, why are you going back to Moose Jaw? And my answer always was, if you never lived there, you wouldn't understand. And I really believe our community, the people in our community, our greatest strength. The mayor's role is to go out and share that information with the rest of Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Clive Tolley.
Well, thank you, Kim, because that's exactly what I've been doing for the last 3 years. I go to Regina, they call me Mr. Moose Jaw because I keep bragging about what a great city we have, and I apologize that they have to live in Regina. Maybe I invite them to come to Moose Jaw. I got this job and I said, I'm going to meet with anybody at any time, anywhere that'll try and promote and develop business opportunities for them in the city of Moose Jaw. I made some mistakes because sometimes they weren't qualified. They didn't have any money. They didn't have a proposal. They didn't have a development. They simply wanted to come in and shoot their mouth off at City Hall. So now I act like a realtor. I qualify them. Do they in fact have some money? Do they have some business experience? Are they legitimate? Can they actually do what they say they're going to do before we throw and lay down the welcome mat to them? So we're very, very open for business at the city of Moose Jaw. Since I've been the mayor, I've been trying my utmost to bring in new business, but we can't always leave it up to others from other places and other people to solve our problems. We've got lots of good business people in the city of Moose Jaw who can expand and bring in opportunities for the city of Moose Jaw. We shouldn't be looking for others to solve our problems. We should be doing it ourselves as much as possible. Joint ventures, working with other organizations. But we have been open for business at the city of Moose Jaw. We haven't chased anybody away. The only people that we've chased away is they haven't had the money or they haven't had a good plan and it didn't make any sense for the city of Moose Jaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. Crystal Froese.
Well, thank you, Robin. And, I believe that we haven't chased opportunities in our city. I believe we've missed them. And as mayor, that is one of your key roles, is to go outside of our city and promote us and seek opportunities. It's a competition. I have seen businesses that should have been here in Moose Jaw go to other communities and go to other communities outside of our province. And these would have fit perfectly here. We have to have a strategy. It can't be just something that you sit behind a desk and hope that they come to you. That's not how economic development works. You have to seek it. You have to be out there building partnerships. You have to promote our city and be outside of our province. We are surrounded in farmland. We need to be partnering with our RM. We have such an opportunity here to bring agricultural valued businesses to our city, and even working with our RM when we don't have the land to ensure they're outside of our city, because we know that people will live here in our city and work there, and that's a benefit for ourselves. We have to look outside the box. That role absolutely needs the energy and the experience to get out there and to promote our city. You got to get out from behind your desk, and we have really missed some really good opportunities by not doing that. And that's what I plan to do if I'm mayor. I've got the energy and the expertise in all those areas to bring home some real results for our city. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal. James Murdock, please.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Well, recruiting new business, boy, just imagine what that would do for our tax base. Everyone would benefit from that. But I think it really starts that we need to have the key individuals within City Hall that are leading the charge and making sure that economic development is making those calls. We have to be reaching out to these industries and large corporations that might be looking to set up shop, elsewhere. We have to phone them. They will not be phoning us. So we have to be active in pursuing that, and be proud of what we can offer here. We have to tell our story. We have a good story here, where we're located in the province, right on the #1 highway, direct access with the Sioux line, directly south into the United States. We need to sell that. And we have land, a lot of land. And for these large, entities, that are looking to come in, we've got the industrial area to the southeast that is really underused, and also just to the west of the city with the industrial area there that I think really we could benefit from that, from maybe trying to incorporate and bring more agricultural based industries to almost form like a cluster to lead the city and show the importance of agricultural in our community, especially now that with Sask Polytechnic that we have the ag program there. I think that we could really take advantage of that and lead the charge. So thank you.
Thank you, James. We have a couple questions here, a little bit much the same, but anyway, we'll get them started. So the first one here is sort of dear to my heart. I had some family members, but one of the question here is, I'd like to understand why our senior apartments have changed, and some seniors feel very unsafe, and because of other younger people coming in there, and they're really having lots of anxiety. So is there anything that the city hall or the mayor can do to help support our seniors that are in some of these homes? And that goes to Kim Robinson.
Thank you. Well, I think it boils back to what I've talked about with community safety, and to that end, I've committed to creating a Citizens on Patrol group. I have got involved both locally and provincially with that Citizens on Patrol group. We need some solutions downtown. Again, with our housing options, we have to get some wraparound solutions, but it starts with community safety, and I think that's really where it begins. And make a presence known to these people that, we've got an eye on things. We're hearing from in the news that there's nothing we can do about moving these individuals that are unhoused unless we got a spot for them. So I would like to challenge some of that. I think we can make bylaws to kind of make touch points and help these people get some of the help they need. But it is a complex situation, but I think there's many things we could do as a city to help.
Thank you, Kim. Clive Tolley.
Well, the seniors high-rises we're talking about are owned and operated by the Moose Jaw Housing Authority, which is a part of Saskatchewan Housing. We as a city appoint board members to the Moose Jaw Housing Authority. Those board members are working hard at trying to solve the problems around the seniors' buildings. It's not like people aren't doing anything. They are trying their best, and they're working with the management from the Moose Jaw Housing Authority. They run into some problems. If you apply to get into the building and there's a vacancy and you qualify, you can get in. And then when you get the problems, management's going after them. The caretakers are going after them. They're calling the police. The Moose Jaw Police Service has received recently funding for 8 new positions. Those officers are going to be boots on the ground soon and available to try and do walking patrols in those areas. But please understand, the Moose Jaw Housing Authority is a separate entity. They're doing their best to manage and control those buildings. Some of the buildings now have associations of the people that live there. They're trying to do things. When I go by the High Park Towers, I see the people out there working at their own security and trying to be visible. So people are working at trying to solve the problems. And again, if you see something, you don't think it's quite right, call the Moose Jaw Police Service and let them do their work, and let's try and clean that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. Crystal Froese.
Well, thank you for the question. And again, it is Moose Jaw Housing, and it's a complex issue because it's an internal inside, and it's a mixture of seniors and other age groups within that facility. And so I know, as Clive mentioned, they're working hard to try to address some of these issues, but we do have 8 additional officers that are coming in. It's important to make sure that we do have more patrols in the downtown area and around these areas, but also I'm going to be advocating for additional police and crisis team, because I think one of the issues we have is increased mental health issues. And the police and crisis team matches a police officer with a mental health expert. And when there's issues, they arrive on the scene together to help mediate and to support whatever is happening with that person. And I know that they've been to situations at Moose Jaw Housing, but it's a really complex issue. And that, so I'll be looking to work with our police service to ensure that we can have more boots on the ground, and also advocating for additional mental health and wellness PAC team members, and that, because we definitely see the increases of the stresses on our community, and we need additional supports in that area for sure. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Crystal. James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. Well, just to reiterate, we do know that the senior high-rises are, overseen by the Moose Jaw Housing Authority here in the province to see that housing for 55 plus is there for them. I know that there are strong concerns of people with, dependencies and well-being struggles are being allowed in, maybe denying, other seniors from having that opportunity. But I do know that in the talks that I did have with Square One and Max, the partnership that's being developed there between Square One and the Moose Jaw Housing Authority is seeing that for those individuals that are in senior high rises right now, and as he stated, 3 strikes and you're out, for those individuals that maybe not following all the rules that are in place by the Housing Authority, they will then be the ones that will be accepted into the program at Square One so that they can gain the assistance that they need to make the proper changes in their lives, and thus be and get the proper support, as many as 3 to 4 times a day, so that they're not falling back into the state that they were. So I really do think that will be a strong help. And then also too, of course, I think we all agree that an enhanced police patrol, once again, it's visual, and that really does help, and it can bring peace of mind for a senior. So thank you, Rob.
Thank you, James. Mike Simpkins.
I think as a society, if we don't protect the most vulnerable in our communities, that we're failing them. And I think we need to step up and protect those people. And I don't really like the 3 strikes you're out, because sometimes a person doesn't make it to strike 3. So I think we need to protect these people. And I think we need to look for ways of putting the proper guidelines on who gets into these senior homes and who doesn't get into these senior homes. These seniors shouldn't feel unsafe and scared to get in an elevator because of the people that are in their home. And so they don't want to push the button, so they want to walk on the stairs. And I think that's just wrong. And I think we need to look again, look for solutions, try to fix that, and encourage our housing authority to address this situation to protect the vulnerable in our society. I know this is out of order, I'll be honest with you, but Crystal, being the chairman of the police commission, you mentioned about boots on the ground and about, are we going back to the old system of having officers actually walk a beat in our city? That would be great. I don't think there's anybody here that's going to be discouraged for that. And we're bringing in new officers. Is that exactly what we're doing? Senior in the commission, you should actually know what they're doing. Is that actually what we're doing? Are we bringing in officers to walk the streets?
Yeah, we're already doing that. Yeah, we have additional officers already out there, and we're being funded with 8 additional officers by the province that will also add to our membership.
Thank you then, Mike. So we have one last question, and this is one way, I guess, to all the issues that are having, or City Hall has, and some people as well. So how are you going to create a better city morale, and how are you going to incorporate accountability to the positions that are being held by those working at the City Hall? How are you going to make all of these things happen? How are you going to get them excited? How are you going to get them motivated? How are you going to make them happy? And Clive Tolley, please.
Well, when I got this job 3 years ago, I realized that we had a culture at the city that I was not pleased with. I heard people answering the phone with not the nicest manners. I saw people standing, holding their shovel rather than using it. I saw the things that all of us see, and I felt, what can I do about this? How can I have an effect? We hired a city manager who wants to see change, wants to have a different culture at the city. She's already made significant changes in terms of morale for the people that work for us. They'll be here in this building, I think this week, for employee engagement sessions where they're going to enjoy each other's company, have some team building activities, be treated with respect, and kind of shown this is how we want you to be as a city employee. And it's a process. And the last one, or the first one we did was in this room, and I said, if you don't like working for the city, you're not happy, and you're a miserable employee, why don't you quit? 2 of them did. So I thought that was a pretty good thing. I think it takes time and effort. I'm trying to provide leadership. The city manager's providing some of the how, and our HR people are strong and good at what they're doing. We're trying to hire good people, train them, and let them do their jobs. And we're trying to reinforce the kinds of behaviors that we think are acceptable to you as the city of Moose Jaw people. We're doing our best to change the culture of the city of Moose Jaw. Thank you.
Thanks, Clive. Crystal Froese.
Thanks, Rob. Well, in 2016, when I was elected to city council, when you phoned to ask for help, what would happen at reception is they had those old pink slips that said, call me back. Do you remember those? And that they would tear them off, and somehow that would find its way through the labyrinth of City Hall. So one of the key things for me was modernizing City Hall and giving our staff the tools to be able to provide the services that we all deserve and pay for here in our city. And so that's what we've been doing since 2016, is modernizing things like having an online app that you can look up and find all the different things you need, modernizing the website, having a tracking system for when you want to report an issue that goes into a computer so you can track those and find those, giving our staff tools. Can you imagine in this day and age working in a place where you have 400 staff members, and when you phone, you have to track down a pink slip to call somebody back? So that affects morale. So as a collective with council, that's what we've been working towards, is modernizing and giving our staff the tools. That right there brings up morale. And safety was another issue. When I first got on city council, when I would drive by a construction area, they barely had barriers up. It was a real issue. And so safety has become one of the dominant ones. And Maurice Carmichael, our new city manager, is a breath of fresh air. She looks at things with a fresh eye, and she's been doing a whole restructuring with our city. So we're going to see a lot of improvements in the next couple of years working with her and her expertise. We are really lucky that she's chosen to work here in our city. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question, Rob.
Thank you, Crystal. James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. Well, for me, morale, motivation, excitement starts with teamwork. If individuals at City Hall, regardless of administration, outside employees, see that there's a strong mayor and council that are united with moving the city forward, trying to implement positive changes for the betterment of the community, that attitude becomes contagious, and others want to be part of that. Only good things can become of that everyone can benefit from. Also, too, inside City Hall, we do have great people there, but you know, it's just taking the time to get to know someone, like saying hello, how are you? A smile can go a long way to change a person's day and to maybe make them feel good, to maybe do better. So we do have good employees. We just need to see that they're recognized for that, and they will want to be a part of all the positives that can take place. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Mike Simpkins, please.
It starts with value. Do you value the people you work with? And that's really where it comes down to. Do these people feel valued? So it starts right in the mayor's chair. Does the mayor value the people that are around him? Does the mayor value the people? And is he open to listen to them? Is he open to criticism from these people so that we can learn? Because if we go in there thinking we've got all the answers, then we're the wrong person. I'm being honest with you. We have to be open to these people. We have to work with these people. You have to be able to work together as a team. And when there's value in the council chambers, then there can be value in city management. And so we need to see that. We need to make sure it starts from the mayor's office, the council chambers, and from the city manager, and on down in the department heads of every department, that they're valued and the people underneath them are valued. So if the city manager will value the lowest employee, then we know we're in good business. But if the city manager can't take criticism from one of the junior employees, then we have a problem with value. And it starts with value, because if you're felt valuable, then you're going to have good morale. But if you're not felt valued, then you're not going to have good morale. So it starts with value, caring and valuing the people that you work for. I find if you show value to the people, people don't have any problem working for you. People don't ever have any problem doing a good job for you. You don't have to ask them twice. You don't have to ask them to do a good job. They just do a good job because they feel valued. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Kim Robinson.
Thank you. Well, I think it's even simpler than all this. I mentioned earlier I come from a family that worked in the service industry, and I've worked quite a lot of my years in the service industry. And I think it boils down to creating an attitude of service. Our entire city, staff, council, everything has to realize that we are in service to the residents of Moose Jaw. And hear me out, if you get, for example, in the service business, you get fed a nice steak and you tell the customer, the manager, how nice a meal you had, their face lights up. And I think you'd see that too with turning our city into a service-based business. Run it as a service business. You'll see not only our residents be very happy that they're being serviced properly, but our people would be happy that they're being rewarded with kudos. I think it's as simple as that.
Thank you, Kim. So we're getting to the end of the evening, so we closing remarks. So Kim Robinson, and we'll go in reverse order from the start. So Kim Robinson, Mike Simpkins, James Murdock, Crystal Froese, and Clive Tolley. You have 2 minutes to do your closing remarks, and listen to the bell.
Great, thank you. Well, again, I appreciate you all showing up. It's wonderful to see everybody interested in our civic politics. But tonight, I've heard a lot of sayings here like, well, there's nothing we can do about it, or that's just the way it is. And I've heard we got to support our social groups like Square One and MJ Pride and the Warming Center, et cetera, et cetera. But what I haven't heard is that we need to support our businesses and our residents. We need to support our seniors. We need to invest in our tourism. I've said this before. Somebody mentioned the Board of Revision. We farmed it out. We always seem to want to take the easiest, simplest way. And I say it's time that our mayor and council said the buck stops here. Let's be accountable and responsible to our residents of Moose Jaw. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. Mike Simpkins.
Again, thank you all for coming. I know it takes a lot out of your time, and so I appreciate you all coming and taking an interest. And as I say to every person I meet, please go vote. We can't have 26% of the people decide who runs our city. I believe the 29 people running for political office in Moose Jaw determines that there is a need for change in our city. As I knock on doors and I talk to people, everybody seems to say we need a change. So I think the need is to look for new people who have a new approach and a new vision for the city in order to tackle the old problems that still exist. I look forward to working with a group of people in council who have a heart for the city and a passion for the people. Some of the problems that we must deal with are going to be very difficult, and that's why we need strong leadership. Someone like myself who has the courage to stand up and to fight for the people in the council chambers. I often say if my dad can stand up for me on D-Day, I'll stand up for you in the city chambers. I won't back down. I'm going to be there as a voice of the people. The people need to be supported, and the taxpayers need to be heard. When they come to the council chambers. They can't be ignored and listened to. As Crystal said earlier, Bernie Dubowski gave an absolutely amazing presentation, and I've heard a few other people give presentations to council, and they just said, yeah, we adopt that and then move on. It's like the decision was already made, and these people didn't have value, and I say that's got to stop. People, the people need somebody who is strong in their beliefs, strong in their character. Moose Jaw doesn't need another politician. Moose Jaw needs a business person with leadership, vision, integrity, and I believe I'm the man for the job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. James Murdock.
Thank you, Rob. Well, for those of you that know me, you know what you get with me. I'm very approachable and I have the keen ear to listen, and I take the time to listen. I can assure you that I will be the voice for all citizens. And from what I've been hearing, citizens are telling me that they have not been heard and they have lost faith and are frustrated. So I am so passionate about this city, that this city is my life, and I want to move it forward so that there's a future for grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Let's do Moose Jaw proud and make this the best city, not in the province, but in the world. I will say this, and it's been asked of me, James, you must have rocks in your head for wanting to do this. No, I do not need to be doing this. I'm at the stage in my life where I want to do this. I am driven, and I want to be here for the city of Moose Jaw, not to just lead it forward for the next 2-3 years, but for the next 30 to 40. This can be a real shift in attitude for everyone in this city, this election. It is important to get out to vote. The attitude will shift with council. It will shift with City Hall and administration. But most importantly, it will shift for the citizens because you deserve it and you are frustrated, and we will listen. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Crystal Froese.
Moose Jaw is at a tipping point, and I've listened to the concerns of our citizens, and I'm here to take action. As your mayor, my job will be to chase opportunities that actively drive economic development and bring jobs into our community. And I have a plan. Moose Jaw is surrounded by farmland. I supported the bailed-in agreement providing irrigation to family farms south of us. And I want to build on that momentum by attracting value-added agricultural business to boost our local economy. With Sask Poly Ag Diploma Program here, I'd also push for a food center annex where local entrepreneurs can create Sask-made food products, connecting tourism with Moose Jaw's farm-to-table potential. But to make Moose Jaw truly business-ready, we need to stop waiting for businesses to come to us. I'll establish an economic development advisory group to set clear goals to get results. With my experience in agriculture, tourism, and business, I have the plan and the drive to make that happen. We're also facing a difficult budget and need to hire a new police chief. We need funding for the Crescent View sewer station and urgently find a new landfill location. I'll work with our MLAs to communicate the urgency of these needs and partner with the RM to find an agreeable location for the landfill. As your mayor, it will be my priority to build partnerships that are key to our success. I love Moose Jaw. I've been a part of our business community for years. I've seen our citizens step up to help each other time and time again. Moose Jaw's values are my values. I won't waste any time. As your mayor, I'm ready to continue to serve you and get to work with our new council on day one. I ask for your vote to build a better Moose Jaw for everyone. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming tonight. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Clive Tolley.
Thank you, Rob, and the Chamber of Commerce, who I work very closely with as we try and market this city. We've got a great board there, and the Chamber and the city working closely together is doing some fine work. I thought I'd tell you a typical week in a mayor's life. A guy phones and he says, well, the grader's been over and he's done the alley, but now we've got a lake there. So what did I find out through research with the city staff is that It's an inexperienced operator, and he needs training. He needs to have another go at this. The neighbors are parking in the alley. What did I learn? We've got a bylaw, and we asked the police to go in and enforce that bylaw and move the vehicles out of the alley. Why did they pave that street instead of that one, even though it was this one's turn? Well, one of them was on the bus route, and we need to improve the bus route more quickly. This is the kind of work that you do daily as the mayor, listening to your community and trying to work with your administration to solve problems. When you get the time, and I spend a lot of it promoting the city of Moose Jaw, the mayor is the face of the city. We attend and represent the city at all kinds of events, large and small. I was here earlier today for celebrating Disability Employment Month in this room. So it's the mayor's responsibility to not only pass on the problems that we encounter to our administration, so hopefully they can get fixed, but also to market the city at every opportunity. It's a complicated job. I think I've done a very good job at it for the last 3 years. I ask you to give me the opportunity to do it for another 4 years. I think we're headed in the right direction. And if you need more information, you want to understand more about me, please look at my website, clivetollyformayor.com. Thank you again for coming. Like me, you care about our city, and that's why you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive. So just a couple more thank yous. I want to thank all the candidates. I commend them. I can feel their passion, their desire to succeed, and we all want to make Moose Jaw that much better. Questions that were asked from the audience, that was great. So good luck to you. Thank you for all being involved and letting your name stand.
I have a question. They said in the interview that Mr. Clark said that there'd be a point in time that a person could ask questions from the audience. I'd like to ask a question if nobody wants to run away. I'd almost ask for 3 minutes of silence, because on the 8th of July of 2022, ethics, moral, and integrity died. And it died on bylaw number 5669, when 3 out of the 7 councillors that are sitting in the city of Moose Jaw voted that they could jump ship like Mayor Tolley did and stick it to the taxpayers of Moose Jaw for $80,000. And when they passed that bylaw 5669, that was a bylaw that was intended to cover the expense, the integrity of a seated official, elected official, so that they could throw integrity and ethics out the window and say it's now the law. Well, I'd like to know where these 3 people sit on integrity, ethics, and morals, because they voted for 5669, and at any given time, any one of these 3 could jump council and force a by-election and stick it to us one more time. That's my question. Integrity, ethics concerning 5669. Thanks.
Well, it didn't happen. Is that our team? Well, I think we're done here, because they didn't get, the citizens didn't get stuck for anything. It never did come to fruition. So, I mean, I think our night's over. I need to thank some people, and so there's Darby over here, and Heather, we're the chamber staff. You got, what do you do here? You're the manager, the project manager of the event center. We got Paul Buzzy doing for nothing. He's doing all the stuff for us as a sound man. And we got Jordan Rivers right over there from Discover Moose Jaw. So thanks for helping us put this on, and nice big crowd, and a great ending.